Hello, everyone. I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'm breaking down our main event for UFC Vegas 112, which is also the last fight of 2025. So, in this fight, we have a former title challenger, Brandon Raw Dog Royval, taking on the starter boy, Manel Kape. This is going to be high level, high octane action. This is going to be an amazing main event. And quite frankly, I think will be fight of the night. Now, of course, there's also Melky Costa versus Morgan Charrier. I think that could be fight of the night as well. And you never know with Kevin Vachejos and Giga Chikadze. But I truly believe this is going to be fight of the night. This is a main event built around intensity, rhythm, and two very different expressions of high level flyweight chaos. I mean, you just gotta love the fucking flyweights, man. It may not be the best division. I still hold welterweight in that regard right now. But man, do they always bring it in. It's always fun, 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 fun. For Royval, you got a style that feels like constant motion. I mean, that man just never stops moving with his pressure, his height and reach, scrambling ability, and willingness to turn any exchange into an opportunity. He thrives in absolute fucking chaos. I think I reached my minute and 30-minute mark, so I think I could say that. Meanwhile, you got Kape, by contrast, fights with precision and explosive timing. His style is rooted in patience, stalking his opponents, reading their patterns, and waiting for the perfect moment to fire. As Kape is one of the hardest hitters in this division, and that right overhand of his specifically is a weapon of mass destruction in this division. When Kape sees the opening, he is one of the fastest in the weight class. He accelerates instantaneously, and Kape's ability to generate fight-changing moments with just bursts of speed makes him one of the most dangerous counter strikers in the division. So the dynamic here centers on who can dictate the terms of the fight. Royval's chaos, pace, and constant movement and engagement, or Kape's control, selectiveness, and sharp counters. In this 5-round fight, the fighter who can maintain his rhythm for long stretches and impose their rhythm through pace, pressure, and timing has the clearest path to victory. So, with that being said, let's get down to the breakdown. Starting with Brandon Royval. He fights like he has an extra gear just most opponents can't match. His style is built on volume, pressure, and an unrelenting willingness to engage. Royval doesn't just move forward, he swarms his opposition. He uses his long frame to create awkward angles, mixing jabs, knees, and long kicks with scrambles and sudden level changes. I mean, you do look at Royval's like physical specs. He is one of, if not the tallest in the division. I think Tagir Ulanbekov is still the tallest, but Royval is not that far off at 5'9", with a 68-inch reach. Though that being said, him and Kape do have a similar reach in this fight. One of the things about Royval is his striking is very unpredictable, but always dangerous. Like the sudden knee he hit Matheus Nicolau with, or the sudden spinning elbow he hit KKF with, or Kaikar France. Royval's length also lets him score from the outside, but he's equally effective smothering opponents from on the inside with elbows and clinch work. And he throws combinations that don't always follow traditional patterns, kind of like that weird overhand left he'll throw to, he fights in southpaw. So the weird overhand right followed up by a cross, then followed right back up with the right uppercut or left uppercut he loves to throw. So a lot of his striking is that irregular rhythm that really does make him difficult to time. And his grappling is also just as chaotic. Royval is one of the most opportunistic submission artists in the division, like the standing guillotine on Kaikar France or the guillotine on Matt Schnell. Similarly, also to the arm triangle on Tim Elliott. Royval scrambles with intent, constantly hunting fronts, backs, and transitions. Even when he's not securing submissions, he forces opponents to defend instead of attack, which drains his energy along. But that being said, there's one weakness of his, or one style that has consistently beaten him. It is grapplers who can hold steady pressure and maintain good control. simply just out scrambling him, like Pantoja, who is one of the best grapplers. And even in the win to Tatsuro Taira, you saw Royval struggle greatly when uh, Tatsuro got his back because Tatsuro's control is phenomenal. But that being said, few fighters can really match the pace and the chaos of Royval. I mean, his only losses are to Van, Pantoja, and Moreno. He's only lost to people who wore gold. And in the Moreno fight, and in the rematch, he was able to avenge his loss. Now, looking at Manel Kape, his style is defined by precision and explosiveness. He's not one to rush waist movements and allow opponents to bait him into exchanges he himself doesn't initiate. Kape reads body language exceptionally well, waiting for openings and punishing opponents with sharp counters, like his flying knee on Ode Osborne. And that knee has ended a lot of fights, including in Ryzen. And I believe that was not the flying knee per se, but his explosive power also ended one of his fights with Kai Atsukura. Particularly his left hand is one of the most dangerous also, but I do think the right overhand is even more deadly. Not even his flying knee is as deadly as his right hand. Kape's stance is very compact and disciplined. He feints, he draws reactions, and uses that information to create perfect timing windows. Once he commits with full speed, closing distance like that, and landing shots that most opponents just don't see coming. His grappling is also very strong defensively. I think of Kape's fight with Kyoji Horiguchi and Ryzen, and Kyoji, for as good as a grappler he is, he had a difficult time holding Kape. But that's also because Kape is huge for this division. He might be the biggest flyweight in the division. Again, there's some contestants there like Royval and Tagir. But the fact of the matter is, Kape looks like he cuts a ton of weight to make flyweight. But that being said, Kape is tough to control, he's hard to submit, and very good at keeping the fight in the phases where he's most dangerous. While he doesn't always pursue sustained grappling offense, his hips and explosiveness just makes him so difficult to hold down. But Kape's effectiveness relies on rhythm. There's one issue with Kape that drives most people crazy. It's how he can be so damn tentative. Kape's style relies a lot on finding the perfect shot and then fucking up his opponents. The problem is, he waits so long that sometimes rounds are super competitive, or he loses fights that really he should win, like the Matheus Nicolau fight, which I do think he won. But the thing about that fight is that he took too long to sustain any offense. Kape's done better in terms of maintaining good offense, but that's a lot of times when a fighter brings the fight to him and plays into Kape's hands. If he fights a fighter like Nicolau, who isn't really one to engage all that often, Kape is just going to circle around, make his reads every now and again, and find the opening. But it takes a long time. That being said, I do think Kape's done better in being the aggressor. I'll tell you this now. I think his win over Bruno Silva was the best performance Manel Kape's ever done in the UFC. Not his MMA career. You know, you could think maybe he did better in Ryzen, but for sure, that Bruno Silva win was easily his best performance. So, who knows? Maybe Kape has finally started turning the dial and been more aggressive now. But I'm just not sold on that, because sometimes he does not capture lightning in a bottle all that often. So, looking at the matchup, this is a battle of pace versus timing, because Royval wants a fight that never settles. Both opponents are just constantly having to throw something, because he's going to bring the fight to you. Meanwhile, Kape wants a fight that has some breathing room to him. That there's sometimes they engage, sometimes they're sometimes they're doing hand fighting or making reads. It's oftentimes a battle for Kape anyway. It's kind of like a joust, right? There are moments where they initiate the offense. Sometimes they just wait and read the other opponent's movement. Royval is the exact opposite. He's just going to go after you like this. Non-stop engagement, forcing his opponents to fight back. That is Royval's style. At distance, I do think Royval's length can bother Kape. He's going to be the taller fighter. Now, again, their reach is the same, but when it comes to fighters who are usually taller, they usually have a good kicking reach, and that could play a factor in this. So Royval's long kicks, jabs, and front kicks could force Kape to reset before he can plant and counter, because Royval doesn't need to win through exchanges cleanly. He just needs to keep them active enough to deny Kape his reads. Meanwhile, in the pocket, Kape, I believe, is far more dangerous. His counters are sharper than Royval. He's the cleaner striker of the two and is for sure the harder hitter. Plus, I think he has a better overall accuracy. That being said, Royval is much better in terms of the volume striking. Now, I think the transitional phases like the scrambling, the clinch, the moments where footwork breaks down are where Royval could build the advantages. I don't know if he can hold Kape down because, like I said, Kape is a really good takedown defender and really explosive and hard to hold down. But I think Royval can create chaos and scrambles and maybe even latch on to Kape's neck or something like that in the ensuing scrambles. So overall, this is a high octane fight, man. I'm so looking forward to this. This fight has been scheduled 2 other times. First one was in March, the other was in UFC 317. But at least we are finally getting it, and it's going to end the year off with a bang. Hopefully, of course, because, it's a fight, anything can happen. But I think for 25 minutes, I'm going to favor Brandon Royval. I believe his style and constantly forcing Kape to react instead of making reads and then being proactive could really mess up Kape. Like I said, he's so tentative at times and he's always just waiting for that perfect opportunity. I feel like just Royval's constant offense is really going to disrupt Kape a lot in this fight. I got to be honest, I have no idea why the fuck the odds are like this. Like minus 300 for Kape? Really? Not even looking at their records in UFC, like, Royval obviously being better guys. He beat Moreno and Tatsuru. Granted, split decisions, but I thought he won both. He's fought much better guys than Kape. I mean, what's Kape's best win, really? Asuam Abayev, okay. Bruno Silva, I'm pretty sure Royval beat both those guys, let's be real here. And then from there, it was like Felipe dos Santos, David Dvorak, Zagul, and Ode Osborne. Those are all of his UFC wins. Now, I feel like maybe the biggest thing is maybe it's Royval's been in a lot of wars and he is 33. He's getting close to that age where you could fall off overnight. But he's still got 2 more years of his prime. Not to mention, Royval has a hell of a chin. His only TKO loss is the wrist injury he suffered to Moreno in the first fight. Now, of course, Kape could knock him out. That's always a possibility. But I just think Kape's style, which oftentimes can be very frustrating where he's too reactive, really could mess him up in this fight. So like I said, I don't know why these odds are like this whatsoever. But for my official prediction, I'm going to go with Brandon Royval, and I'm going to pick him via decision in this fight. If there were a finish on the Royval side, I could see him snatching Kape's neck in an ensuing scramble. But I think the lean here more is to Royval via decision, winning 3 of the 2 rounds in a competitive fight, but one where I think his volume outlasts Kape and one where his volume is the more significant than any big punches Kape has. Kape could win the rounds based off having the more significant moments, but I think the volume of Royval is going to win him the day. So once again, I'm going to pick Brandon Royval. I'm going to pick him via decision in this fight. But that being said, I've been Bo from Brutal Commentary. If you like the fight, if you like the matchup, oh my God. If you like the video, like, subscribe, and comment down below on who you think is going to win. But until then, stay calm, stay respectful, and enjoy the violence. I'll see you all next time.